Okay. We're on episode 19 of the podcast, at least to my knowledge. And that was the Outriders opening theme music for for their game. I couldn't find any other music actually for the game. I was looking through YouTube and such, and I'm sure there's more, but it seems like that was the only one I could stumble upon for our introduction. So I'm here with Spoon. We have light news today, but we got a couple things. So Spoon, how are you?
Yep, I'm here. I'm doing all right. Kind of tired today, but
Oh,
it's okay.
Okay, okay.
No
School?
particular reason. Just woke up kind of tired today. I don't know what to say.
Okay.
One of those days.
Yeah, I feel you. Yesterday was that day for me. I had the I told you I had the second vaccination shot 2 days ago, and yesterday was like light fever, headache, body was just like aching, entire body
Yep.
aching. It was an interesting feeling, but I'm over it today, thank goodness, and happy
Yeah.
that things are improved as opposed to worse.
That's pretty typical from the vaccine, from what I've heard at least.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the second dose. That
Mm-hmm.
yeah, people feel terrible the next day, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. No, I'm. Yeah, they told me that that would happen, and I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm sure something will happen. It was. I won't say it was worse than I expected, but it was like, yeah, I will say that it was worse than after the first shot. After the first one, it was just sore arm, and my arm is still a little bit sore, but yesterday was just like more than I expected, to be honest with you. In that I was like, oh, maybe I'll get like a little bit of a headache or something. Did not expect body aches and a little light fever. So anyway, for the introduction today, we had mentioned that we would talk about the Xenoblade stuff to start Spoon, and during my stream, and I had sort of mentioned it on Twitter, but the Xenoblade stuff more than likely won't be happening much anymore on the podcast channel. I'm going to be doing it more on my personal channel. Um, Part of the reason why is of more opportunities to do it there, and I think it's just a better. It'll be better for. There's like sorry, there was like some kind of gnat in front of my face. It'll be more opportunities for me to play. So the Xenoblade stuff will probably start happening on my personal channel, um, which which means the podcast channel won't really have much beyond the Rainbow Six content. But Spoon and I will talk about things we can do on the channel. Both of us are still a little bit busy with school. Um, I will mention that I think my work is actually ramping down. Interestingly enough, for school, so there might be opportunities for me to do something on this channel, depending on when and what I want to do on it for me personally. But yeah, Xenoblade stuff will happen on my personal channel. That's just gonna have more opportunities to play, and I'll be able to finish the game much faster than just the once a week on the podcast channel. So that's that's for that. Also, as a side note, we had the Minecraft server. It's still up. I haven't hopped on it in a while, just because again, a lot of other stuff happening. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll like on stream for the podcast channel start hopping on the Minecraft server, and we'll do that because I distinctly recall the last time I played it was weeks ago, like more than a couple weeks ago. So maybe that's what I'll do is jump on the podcast channel, play some Minecraft, and hop on our server so that we can get some playtime on that because that's still up right now. So that's the Xenoblade update. Um, I'm trying to think I mean obviously we've talked about our YouTube and such. At this point, you know, hopefully everybody's supporting the YouTube. If not, please do so. Particularly if you're stumbling upon our podcasts or other videos and you think, wow, these two are actually nice people. Maybe I'll give them some support. I don't know. Totally up to you, but we still have the YouTube. We tweet the podcast and the Rainbow Six stuff for when they go live and things like that. And I'm trying to think of other things. Spoon, is there anything I should mention? I'm going to actually talk about the movie stuff, but outside of movie stuff, anything else you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think as Otto said, we just need to sit down and talk, us two, outside of podcast about what we're gonna do about the streaming. I do have a long weekend this weekend. I actually have Friday and Monday off, so maybe an opportunity for a stream
Mm-hmm.
or two from me, but I'm not sure what I would play. I guess I did agree to play Chrono Trigger a while ago, and I haven't actually started that,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I'm not sure I want to do that because I'm not sure I have the time to dedicate to like do it once a week or twice a week or
Sure.
whatever that might be.
That's a game you
Um,
probably want to play more consistently because there's
yeah,
certain things that, I mean, you could look up where to go, right? But they give you like one hint, and then
figure it out.
you better remember what the hint was.
Yeah.
um,
Um, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Otto and I will talk about that. So yeah, we know the content's been a little thin lately. So I guess we apologize for that, but understand we do have lives outside of the podcast, and we've just been a little busy. Otto had
yeah,
his charity thing last week that we were, I helped out with that a little bit, and we
yeah,
both have school and other things that we're dealing with. So again, apologies that the content's been thin, but we're just busy right now. So
sure.
um,
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I camped one weekend, but like camping requires some level of preparation and things like that. And then right after that, the charity thing, and that was like 2 weeks gone basically. I had tons of homework before then. It was pretty rough for me personally. And Spoon, you at school, so like that's your school
yeah, I had an
ramped
exam
up.
last week,
Yeah, and
last
you had an
Monday.
exam.
So
So that's that all kind of came together this month, and it was a rough month for both of us in that regard. So hopefully, we can sort of get back to it again. I do think my schoolwork is going to ramp down. I really do. We One of my classes has a final, and the professor, I think I mentioned it before, he said, "Yeah, I'm going to give you 7 days to do it as a take home, and it's one word answers or multiple choice." And we were like, "Well, how long do you think it'll take?" And he said, "Maybe an hour." Like, okay.
I can do one problem a day and get done with that.
Exactly. I was like, wow, that's okay. And so he said that it's no programming work at all for that final, which you don't usually do that for finals. You do like projects. And my other class just isn't doing a final. The professor is like, yeah, I'm not going to do a final. You're gonna get your quizzes and your homework assignments, and that's it. We had our last group project, and it's already done, and we have a presentation for it in like 2 weeks. But beyond that, it's just homework and quizzes, and the quizzes are not hard. So, well, they're not hard in the respect that you can. Oh, it's open book, so you can review your notes and stuff while you're taking it and things like that. So, my work should actually start ramping down. Interestingly enough, and
It's nice.
yeah, I'm not sure what my summer plans are going to be, but the whole point is just sort of getting back to the content stuff. The whole point is I would like to do more podcast stuff on this channel, as in, game streams and things like that. It's just Xenoblade is a hard thing to do once a month. It really, or not once a month. Well, obviously, but once a week. So it's it's just hard to do once a week, and I'd much rather do it like 3 times a week. And that's better served doing it, frankly speaking, on my personal channel because I also like streaming there too. So it's like it's trying to figure out the balance of both of those. The movie night stuff though, uh,
Sure.
I had mentioned this before. I really wanted to see the Godzilla movie. Well, the
Oh yeah.
Godzilla movie came out today. It
Oh, I
is
did. That was
on
today.
HBO Max. I have that. Kate wants to watch the movie, so I'll probably watch it with her. But I'm totally down to also do a movie night of it. So we've got 3 movies in the bucket. We've got the Avengers movies and the Godzilla movie. I'm 100% down, depending on
And
how I feel about the
and
Godzilla movie after I
and the
watch it.
4 hour Zack Snyder DC
And the 4 hours
Justice
actually.
Justice League. That's four.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'll put a poll in the Discord anyway, and you can vote if you like, and we'll depending on if the poll sees any results or things like that, we'll pick a movie. We'll just pick one of those movies and we'll just watch it. And I have access to all those movies, so we can totally do that. And I think it'll be super fun to do that. If we do the Avengers ones, just for a disclaimer, you're probably gonna want to do maybe
Both.
both 2 weeks in a row,
Yeah,
or so at
Infinity
least.
War and then Endgame.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could marathon it, but that's like a whole day. So is the DC Zack Snyder movie, to be fair. And again, I'm curious how Godzilla is. I'm watching. Kate really wants to watch it, so I'll watch it with her. And if
I mean, it might be bad, but it'll be entertaining.
I think it's going to be okay, but it's going to be entertaining as hell.
Yeah, exactly. Good popcorn. Good popcorn movie for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll put a poll up in the Discord, in the general Discord channel, and or in the movie channel too, I suppose. But and I'll say, okay, who wants to watch? Anybody want to watch these movies? Otherwise, if it's just no response to it, I'll just pick a day and time that works best for me, and hope that it works best for everybody else based on our previous movie night dates and times. And I'll just sit in Discord and I'll put the movie up. And if anybody wants to come by, you're welcome to come by.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to say. So for that particular case, our previous movie nights were like weekend and Tuesday. So if I don't get much response on that, I'll just pick one of those days. More than likely Tuesday. Just because weekends are harder with like things like D&D and such, like other things like that. So that's that point. What else? I'm trying to think of other things that we might want to touch on. I think that's it, right? Movie
Yeah,
night.
I think we're good.
Okay,
On
perfect.
intro.
Okay, perfect. Let's then get into the to game news. Oh, there we go. Well, okay, partly game news, partly Amazon. What happened? Okay, let me try zooming in a bit more. It's kind of hard to see the tweet. It's still kind of hard. Let me click on it. Okay, there we go. So, I'm not sure what happened. I Part of me thinks that this Twitter got hacked, but then
Oh,
I'm like, but it's Amazon.
I actually saw an article about this on IGN today. There was a leak on what this actually was.
So, can you tell me what this actually was before I talk about it? Because I part of me thinks, okay, somebody hacked into the Amazon Twitter account, or maybe like an employee got
This
access to it.
this was an internal um project, I suppose, within Amazon. Apparently a leaked document reveals Amazon recruited a number of quote unquote ambassadors to defend the online reputation of the company and its CEO Jeff Bezos. So they picked and they picked a bunch of employees that had a clean HR record and a great sense of humor, and basically just trained them to say particular things, and they all have a tag that was similar to, well, this one was like Amazon News, but there was a bunch of different accounts that were like at Amazon FC with like a name after it, basically. Yeah, it was just a bunch of Amazon employees. Maybe they paid a little extra to do this like initiative to just defend the company on social media, and they had, I'm sure they had a bunch of pre-made things that they had them say and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it was just Amazon being terrible, basically. I
Okay.
can link you that article from
Mm,
IGN if you want that. But
yeah, do link it. Put it in the Discord, please, and in the Twitch also. Okay. Yeah, that's why I thought this was okay. I have I want to give two perspectives on this because I want to be very clear. I want to be super clear on this. Here's my thing. I actually totally get a company doing that, and here's why. companies are really dumb sometimes. So what their goal is, because like for these guys, they're so big that it doesn't actually make as much of a difference, frankly. But I totally see Amazon, Facebook, all some of these like bigger tech companies and such going, okay, I want you guys to create a bunch of accounts, and then I want those accounts to shill for our company. I totally
Yeah.
get that idea actually. It makes a ton of sense. It's a smart thing to do if you're the company. But when you see they do that, you're like, wow, that's kind of pathetic. You're like,
Well,
wow,
yeah.
that's
When
super
it
pathetic.
when it gets out, when it leaks that this was like an internal thing that Amazon planned, it's like, oh, of course it was.
Yeah. It's it totally makes sense that Amazon would do this. Would go, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have like a bunch of different accounts created, whether they're created by some like second company that comes in and says, hey, we do like Twitter support for your company. We'll create like hundreds of fake accounts and support your company with those accounts with like a bunch of random people sitting in a giant warehouse typing away. That actually makes sense to me. I'm sure that's a thing. That definitely is a thing too. Where obviously Amazon might not be doing that, but my point is companies would do that and they would pay for that because their social media reputation matters to them, because and that's obvious based on the number of employees and companies now that have the social media manager tag or something related. Totally makes sense. Again, that being said, one, it's super pathetic because you see that and you're like, wow, that's kind of pathetic. Like you gotta pay other people to make your company look better, or like give your presence uh better support. But here's the second part of this that I just find funny. Like somebody was trained to write that right here. Somebody got trained to write this. How much do you think they got paid in their training to write this? Because you can pay me $5 and I'll write something better. That's all I'm thinking is like, wow, you could have paid me $5 and I'd have wrote something better than this garbage. Somebody was paid to write this, and they're just like probably laughing their asses off right now because they like, this is so bad. It's like this is such a bad, like the wording of this is bad, the tone of it is bad, just everything about this particular tweet is bad. This was easily the worst one for me. All the other ones are bad, but this was the worst one. The you don't really believe the peeing in the bottles thing, do you? If that were true, nobody would work for us. The truth is that we have over 1 million incredible employees around the world who are proud of what they do and have great wages and health care from day one. Okay, number one,
Yeah.
that last part's false. If people felt like this was like the best company to work for, particularly all those folks who are working in the warehouse facility and those types of facilities. Like we've seen the number of articles and people saying, yeah, this is kind of true. Like we have mandates where we can't go to the bathroom that often, or like some of our drivers have to pee in bottles, like,
or the bathroom's like
yeah,
a mile away, or they have to like walk a freaking mile through this warehouse to get to a bathroom.
yeah.
It's like, okay, cool.
It's ridiculous. Like it's just like, are you kidding me? Like we've seen all the articles that talk about people being yelled at or threatened to be fired because they went to the bathroom one too many times, or they took too long in the bathroom, because sometimes taking a number two takes a while. It's just like, and the fact that they say incredible employees, I love that. Amazon's like all those warehouse folks, Amazon doesn't think they're incredible. They probably think, oh, well, we can just cycle through them over and over again. They don't actually think they're incredible people. So that part of it's also funny. It's just like Amazon doesn't think that highly of their warehouse employees. If they did, none of these things would have come out in the first place. Great wages. That's hilarious.
I mean, they pay better than a lot of companies.
They do. That's true.
To be slightly fair to Amazon, they have better wages. That I believe they do pay at least $15 an hour usually.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic that they pay the $15 when they could easily pay them more, and probably
they could pay much more. Obviously, they could afford it.
Yeah, they could.
to at least give one check to Amazon. At least they pay the 15. I'm sure their healthcare, by the way, like any healthcare in the U.S. Well, one, it's tied to their job, so it's stupid, and B, I'm sure it's actually pretty expensive, and it takes a chunk out of out of their paycheck
Yeah.
to have their healthcare.
Oh,
So,
and to be fair, those warehouse people, they make the $15 an hour, but they're worked like terribly hard.
oh yeah,
And
no,
so
they're
like
worked to death.
yeah, and yeah, I'm just our people in the chat are saying the $15 an hour is because progressive politicians pressured them. Well, yeah, of course they were pressured to do that, and I'm sure they felt the pressure and decided to make the change. They're never gonna actually make the change unless you pressure them. And then it says on part 2 of this, why was there a part 2? We hope you can enact policies that get other employers to offer what we already do. Oh my god. It's just like, what are you doing? Somebody was trained and paid to say this. Okay? There's also some other stuff that was tweeted talking about there's a big difference between talk and action.
Yeah,
Bernie Sanders has been a powerful politician in Vermont. It's like, why did you add powerful in that? Okay. For
he's a
30,
senator.
yeah,
He's one senator.
it's just like he's powerful. It's like, okay, why are you adding that? And their minimum wage is still $11.75. This is for Vermont. Amazon's is $15 plus great health care. Sanders would rather talk in Alabama than act in Vermont. Oh my god,
Yeah, Bernie Sanders is not the governor of Vermont,
he's not.
nor the God King of Vermont, where he can
It's
just
like,
do whatever he wants in Vermont. He's a senator.
this is like the weirdest thing. Okay, I have this tweet up here, but I'll put it up here too. This is extraordinary and revealing. One of the most powerful politicians. Stop. I don't know who keeps saying this. Stop saying powerful. In the United States, just said she's going to break up an American company so that they can't criticize her anymore. Okay, this is Elizabeth Warren talking about the loopholes that Amazon uses for tax breaks and
I mean,
and
not just Amazon, literally every
yeah,
freaking
literally. Well,
huge
yeah. I
corporation.
mean, she did tag Amazon specifically, so I'm only referring to them, and also just like the fact that Amazon busts unions. So because if there was a union, Amazon would be little tiny bit of hot water there, little tiny bit. I love the tag on this one too. I totally thought this too. Did somebody at Amazon did an Amazon exec just discover cocaine? That's what I thought. I was like, oh, somebody figured out drugs are a thing, and they took them because these tweets are so bad.
And then went on social media.
And then went on social media. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I have nothing else to say. Amazon's a company that 100% is paying for paying for Twitter supporters or getting their employees to do that, and probably paying their employees $15 extra to do it. And I'm not surprised at all that they trained somebody to do that, and the training failed miserably because this is the worst. I don't know who thought this was a good idea. It's just, I don't understand who was like, yeah, I'm gonna tweet this and this will work. It's like, nice training. An idiot could have figured out that this was a bad idea. So I don't know. Any thoughts from you, Spoon, besides what we've already said regarding this?
I mean, this is one of those things where I feel like if you're in the meeting room coming up with this idea, it kind of sounds good on paper when you could like, all right, we'll recruit like an army of employees to make some accounts on Twitter and like shill for our company. It's like, all right, maybe on paper that sounds good, and then like in practice, you just look like an idiot.
It looks sad,
and it doesn't. It seems so fake that these accounts are just shilling for Amazon, and so it's like, okay, yeah, and then you get responses like this. Did an Amazon exec just discover cocaine this week? Because people know it's just like you're just full of shit. It's like nobody believes you, Amazon, no matter how many fake accounts or how many accounts from employees you make that say Amazon's a great company, they pay great wages, they have great health care. No, like every huge corporation in this country exploits these loopholes. They dodge taxes. They have terrible working conditions. They don't pay their workers enough. And it's not exclusive to Amazon.
No, it's
It's
not.
everyone, and it's because they can, and they can the because our government is entirely corrupt and it's bought out by these corporations. You know, the campaign donations, the Democratic and the Republican parties are both bought out by these super wealthy people who run the corporations, and that's just the way it is. There is starting to become a segment of people and politicians, the progressives, who are fighting against this, but we're still a ways away from having real change, because even on the Democratic side, who are supposed to be the party that is against these corporations and for the more progressive policies and for the people, you have politicians like Joe Manchin, who says he's a moderate Democrat, but he's really kind of a Republican who you know is in the Democratic Party. And since it's a 50-50 right now, and they need literally every single Democratic vote in the
Mm-hmm.
Senate to get something through, if they have one moderate Democratic senator can hold a bill hostage basically and
Mm-hmm.
say like, well, no, I'm not going to vote for it unless X, Y, and Z, or I'm just not going to vote for a period. So you're
Unless
hosed.
you, yeah,
Um,
unless you wet my beak or something like that.
so yeah, I mean, sorry, that was a little bit of a political tangent and rant, but um, yeah, this kind of thing is not exclusive to Amazon. This was a very poor idea by Amazon, and pretty much all of social media realized what they were doing and called them out on their bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, no, it's not exclusive to Amazon or anything like that. I mean, we've seen other larger companies as well treat, I'm going to say employees, but in the case of like Uber, I think I'm going to call the Uber drivers employees even though Uber won't. Those people are basically employees and they get treated like shit from Uber. And same thing with like all the other delivery companies like DoorDash and such. It's it's pretty sad. It's but that's what they do, and it works because money talks. Money does talk. So it is frustrating. It's the reason why something like Prop 22 passed, because DoorDash, Uber, and all them put like hundreds of millions of dollars into getting it through, and it works because more money is helpful. So yeah, Amazon's just this was so funny when I read this. I thought it was like a hack. Someone hacked the account, but now that I know that it was like the
it was
Amazon army,
it was an Amazon initiative within the company.
Amazon army. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's just like wow.
Just
Okay,
kind of sad.
okay. Let's move on to Humankind.
Okay.
Humankind. We mentioned it. I think before we mentioned it. It was. Did we mention before that it got delayed?
No, this
No,
was
we didn't.
after the
This was
podcast
after.
last
Okay.
week. It
Then
was
it.
like Thursday. It was
Yeah.
Thursday
Yeah,
or
okay.
Friday
Okay.
last week.
Okay. Well,
It was
Humankind
Thursday.
got delayed. You go ahead.
Yeah, it got delayed to August. It was initially supposed to release next month, April 22nd, I believe, and they have delayed it to August 17th. Honestly, I think I mentioned it briefly. I don't remember if it was on the podcast or just to you,
Mm-hmm.
when we were talking outside of podcast, that man, humankind has been they've been kind of radio silent lately.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing these culture reveals for a while, and they stopped doing that. And I thought they would restart it going up to the release, and they hadn't didn't do that. And you said to me, you're like, yeah, they're probably gonna delay it. And here
Yeah.
we are.
I mean, like if you're not seeing a lot of stuff come out before the release, you're probably gonna get a delay. You're gonna get the whole. You're gonna get a we have to delay it. The challenges of the pandemic, yeah, all that stuff.
Now they didn't even say that. They
That's
were just
great.
like,
I know. I'm looking at it. And they
no,
didn't.
they're just like, no, it's not gonna be ready, dude. Like,
Yeah,
we need more. We need more time. Like,
I have to admit, I'm pleasantly surprised that that wasn't mentioned at all in here.
no, they didn't say
I'm
that at all. They're just like,
I'm like,
They did say, like, they did a live stream last week on the same day they released this blog and announced the delay, and they basically said, they're like, yeah, we could have released it on April 22nd and it would have been playable, it would have been pretty fun probably, because a lot of people who played the last open dev were like, yeah, this is good, like, we like it, but there's just issues, there's a lot of balance issues, there's some other things, and yeah, they're like, yeah, we could release it on April 22nd, but it's not going to be
Mm-hmm.
the game they want it to be and the game the fans want it to be. So they're just going to delay it, some more months and get it ready. They want this to be their, at least up to this point, the like magnum opus for Amplitude. They're very ambitious about this game. They've been wanting, it sounds like from everything I've heard them talk about this game, that they want this to be their best game yet. They want to, they're not, I don't think they're necessarily trying to challenge Civ, but they really want to give the best take that they can on the historical 4X strategy
Mm-hmm.
game, be a good like quote unquote competitor to Civ. They're not trying to challenge Civ, like Civ is huge, you're not gonna put a dent in that. But so yeah, the game is delayed, and while I'm disappointed because I am quite looking forward to this game, I've liked what I've played so far in open dev, and I'm liked, everything that they've talked about with it, this including the stuff that in this blog that they're planning on changing in the extra time they have with the delay. So yeah, I'm disappointed that they delayed it. I was looking forward to playing it in April, but
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about it before. A delayed game, you know, can be improved and will hopefully come out as a good game.
Mm-hmm.
A rushed game is forever not always forever bad, but is forever remembered as rushed and will be like scarred on
Right. I
release
mean, like,
basically.
you're right. Basically, the one thing you still remember about Cyberpunk, even to this day, is that release was absolutely a disaster.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
It'll never go away. You'll really never forget that. Even now, like whatever Cyberpunk does to improve, that release was so bad. Everybody has this sour taste to deal with. At
And
least when a game like this is delayed, and they do like another open dev, which they're going to do, right? They mentioned it. Um,
they said on the stream that they are planning to do another open dev, hopefully on the original release date, which was April 22nd, but if not, somewhere around there, probably within a week or so
right.
of the
So
original
it's
release date. So around there, they're going to have an open dev, and that will be indicative of what we would have gotten had the game released at
exactly.
that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like we're not going to be able to play it until then.
Yeah.
Like when a game gets delayed and the developer maybe announces, "Okay, we've delayed the game, but we would like to do maybe another beta." That's you're still like, "Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll still get my hands on it at some point again." It's just
And it
not fully released
and it
yet.
sounded like they were even planning to do like at least one more open dev after that, probably like I would guess in June or July or
Mm-hmm.
something, like right before the game comes out. So
Yeah, it's.
yeah.
I don't think at all it's bad. I mean, like delay multiple delays, like lots of delays, is a bad thing. When there's nothing, like no demo content coming out, like if something gets
Yeah.
delayed for a long time, and you're like, okay, and there's no demos coming out at all, your big concern is, okay,
Yeah.
we haven't really played anything in the past X number of months or years since you
No
delayed this. A little bit
no
concerned.
demos and no trailers, no information.
Right.
That's where we're at with, by the way, which we talked about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago with like Tales of Arise. Again, they announced that game in 2019 at E3, and it was literally radio silence until like a month ago when they
Mm-hmm.
had that trailer that was like, "Oh, by the way, we're gonna have more information for you in a couple months."
The trailer where you're like, okay, thanks. This
Yeah,
was
but
thanks. I
so yeah,
Go
this
ahead.
yeah, in the long run, it's going to be a good thing. Obviously, it's disappointing for people who are looking forward to this game, like myself, that we're not going to get to play the full release. We're not going to have our hands on the full game in April, but we are expecting to be able to play it in April as another open dev.
Yeah.
So
I again, I don't think this is a bad thing. I would like to play a couple more open devs, so that's before release. That's good. Maybe one of the open devs will just be like, here's what the game, here's everything, here's the game.
Yeah.
You get like
I
a couple days to play it.
think they said the one in April is going to be similar in scope to the one they did before, so it'll be
Okay.
like four eras again. Hopefully, if they do another one after that over the summer sometime, that will be like, okay, you get a full game, basically. You
For like
get
a couple days,
to
yeah.
go all yeah. Um, so yeah, if you don't mind, can you like scroll down in this blog? They did talk about a number of like things that they are planning on changing, or from the
How
some of the feedback they
far?
got in open
Oh,
dev
here we go.
a
I
little
see. I
further.
see these bullets.
Yeah, they have a ton of bullets here about the things that from feedback they got from the last open
Oh
dev
wow.
that they are planning on addressing um, in the additional 4 months or so that they have. Um,
They changed the growth system. I'm wondering if they remember, as you recall, one of our issues was when we created a soldier, we lost population. Did they talk about that?
They did talk about it's not in this, but they did talk about it on stream, and it sounds like they are planning for that still to be the case for you to lose pop.
Oh, okay.
However, what they're doing with food is they're
Okay.
going back to a more traditional system of the way food works. So if you remember the way food worked in this games, there was like stagnant and then there was like growth and super growth.
Yeah.
And also your food accumulation like increased with the more population you had,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So it was more of like a realistic model, so it's like the bigger the city gets, like the faster the population grows, which again realistically makes sense,
Yes.
but like for a game it didn't really make sense. Your city just grew so slowly at first. It took so long to get a city going, and especially like you were talking about, if you wanted to build armies and stuff, well, you had to lose a pop every time you wanted to build a unit. So that was really frustrating. So it, from what this is saying here, if you read it,
Mm-hmm.
they're just going back to a traditional food system, like the way Civ or their other games worked, where it's just like you need X amount of food to for the population you have, and then any excess food that you have
Goes into growth, right?
goes into growth, which is
Yeah.
how Civ does it. It's how their other 4X games like the Endless games did it. And again, I think it was an interesting idea to try to do the more realistic model with it, but for gameplay it was kind of annoying, to be honest, and I don't think people liked it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
So I like they're making that change. That was a complaint that I had about it. I did not like that food system at all. Um, Looks like they're making some tweaks to the Neolithic era, which is the first
Mm-hmm.
era of the game before you settle. Sounds like that was like really exploitable in open dev, so they're gonna they're gonna play around with that a little bit. Stability, which is the happiness system in the
Mm-hmm.
game. Um, yeah, it's supposed to be a limiting factor to how much you can like expand and how much stuff you can build. And yeah, there was a point where you could just like snowball out of control, and you just had so much stability it didn't matter.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it
They
was
just
just
ignored it.
it was it was a non-factor
Mm-hmm.
at some point once you got going. Um, yeah, a lot of these are just like balance changes. It's just like the numbers were just off. They were just off in the open div. Like it really snowballed really fast. You could get through the whole thing in like 60 to 80 turns, and it was supposed to be 150, so you could get it through it in like half the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like the things just snowballed really easily. So a lot of it is just like tweaking
Mm-hmm.
some visibility stuff in the UI with diplomacy and like trade routes and
I'm looking through.
um
Yeah. Okay. I'm just looking through all the bullet points, and then there's just a bunch
so
of like
yeah, I
stats.
mean
Okay.
the I guess the sort of gist of it is they are really taking to heart the feedback that they are getting from these open devs. And again, from what they said and what this blog says, most of the feedback they got was like, "Hey, this game is actually really cool and really fun. We really like the foundation, but there's a few things here and there, like the growth system. There's some things with the UI that could use some tweaks. The balance is." Again, the balance in the open dev was a mess. We talked about
Yeah.
it, and like that really needed a lot of tweaking. Um, and yeah, so it just seems like they're taking all the feedback to heart. They're you know they're not just like putting the open dev out there and then saying, "Hey, we're gonna work with you," and then they're not actually responding or taking any of the feedback. Like they're making these changes because this is the feedback that they got on the game from the
Mm-hmm.
community. So I really like what they're doing here, and they, again, if you read this or you watch the live stream they did last week, they seem really really passionate and really involved in making a great game that everybody's gonna like, or at least everybody who likes this kind of game is going to like.
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what we get with the next open dev in about 3 weeks or so at this point, hopefully, assuming it's
Right.
around there. um, and yeah, I can't wait for this game. Again, I'm disappointed that it won't be coming out in April, but I'm happy that they are taking their time and taking the feedback to heart with this thing. And I think this game is going to be really great, to be honest.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we'll see in the next open dev how many changes actually go into effect that they discussed in those bullet points.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be everything, but
But hopefully a good number of those things, so you can see what those changes look like now that they've been implemented or going to be implemented. Okay. Um. Kingdom Hearts is on PC.
yeah,
It came out yesterday,
yesterday.
and the the game came out to a 20% discount. They also added on to this tweet that if you pre-purchase the game on the Epic Game Store, you're eligible for a partial refund from the 20% discount. Um, so that did get some drama at first because people saw the 20%. And they're like, "Hey, what the hell?"
Yeah, what gives? I pre-ordered and I get screwed because I pre-ordered. Yeah, people
Yeah,
were not happy about that when that
yeah.
came out until they clarified and
And
people
so
got the
like
refund.
I'm sure people like request a refund and then try to rebuy the game. It's just like
Yeah, I,
not a good system. Bad
I
communication.
I definitely saw some people in the cage community on Twitter like overnight when this happened. When I woke up and like looked at Twitter, people were like, "Yeah, I canceled my pre-order and like rebought. I like refunded the games and then I rebought the game with the discount, not knowing that they didn't have to do
Yeah,
that,
it's
obviously." But
poor
the
communication.
yeah, very poor
Very
communication.
poor communication. That was just one aspect of this. The other aspect is the games themselves. You've seen more than I have, but I've seen some crashes in this game in various different points. I'm not sure if you can actually control when the game crashes, but can you explain all the issues so far that have occurred within the PC releases? I won't say all the games have issues, but there have
Yeah.
been
So
some.
from what I've heard and from what I've seen, and I have not played them yet. I have not bought them, and I don't think I'm planning to. Until either Rando comes out for it or there's a deeper discount, to be honest, because I own all these games like two or three
Right.
times already for the most part. Um, but on the positive side, apparently KH3 is actually really good because that game was made in UE4 originally,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more built for BC because the game was made in UE4.
Okay.
So apparently the port for KH3 is actually quite good. Um, and same thing for 0.2. The problem with 0.2 is it's part of the 2.8 collection, so some of the you can't edit the settings for 0.2 specifically. You have to edit the settings in that entire collection.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and each game has like a PC settings menu where you can change the frame rate. There's like the options are 30, 60, 120, and unlocked from what I've
Oh
seen.
wow.
Um, and I've heard variable things about it. I'm sure it's good on 60 because that's what it was built for on
Right.
PS4. I've heard some people say 120 is really good. I've seen a little bit of unlocked and it looks weird, and I don't know how I felt about it, but I've heard some people say that's good too. So, and since it's PC, I think it's really variable depending on your hardware, obviously. So yeah, KH3 and 0.2 are quite good. Apparently, KH2, which I've heard the most about, seems, again, really variable. I've heard some people say that it runs like a dream and it's great even on like 120 or unlocked frame rate. And they played for 7 hours and it never crashed and they had no issues. And then I've had people who've crashed multiple times not at the same spot, and all the crashes seem completely random too. It's not like everyone's crashing at the same place. Like one person crashed in Space Paranoids, one person crashed in Timeless River, one person crashed in Twilight Town and Hollow. It's completely seems completely random with the crashes. So I don't know what it is, a memory leak or something. I have no idea. And there are some weird audio glitches with KH2 as well. There are these, like fire, especially when you're hitting multiple enemies. There's one fight in particular in Land of Dragons where you're in. We call it the cave fight. There's some assault riders, and then there's a bunch of shadows that spawn around you. When you fire the shadows, there's something happening with like when multiple hits happen, but like the bass just gets like cranked up and it's like boom, 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 boom when you hit them with the fire. So there's some weird audio bugs. There's also some weird ones that I have no idea what it's causing, where there's like these little like clicks and beeps in the background that are like really like loud and grating, and we have like no idea. Sometimes it seems to happen from like Donald's Thunder, like all this stuff happens in combat. It happened in a gummy mission too, like on Nintendo's stream. Nintendo was having a horrible experience with KH2 yesterday. So yeah, there's some weird audio bugs in KH2 and some random crashes. I've heard DDD crashes a lot, even worse than KH2.
Oh my
I haven't
god.
seen it at all or confirmed, but I have heard some people reporting a lot of issues in DDD.
Jeez.
KH1 I haven't heard too much. I know Nintendo crashed when he was at one point when he was trying to run through it, but that's not consistent again.
Oh my god. It just sounds like this game, not only these games need patches, but like you can't even realistically speedrun these games if that's the case. Cuz like
yeah, people were trying to do day one speedruns and they crashed partway through the run and it's like, "Oh, okay, rip. I crashed."
like you can't if the
you never save during the speedrun, so if you crash you're screwed. Like your run's over.
Yeah, it's just like if it's like so the crashes are random and they're not frequent, but they're enough where like I don't know.
You're probably gonna crash once during the 3-hour run, and
yeah, and that's you can't do that. You can't even do that. So these games need some patches, it seems like, and frankly, they should just keep the discount on the games until they're patched. At this point, they should just keep them on, but they won't.
Yeah, I mean the discount's supposed to be for the first week. We'll see what happens.
They should
with
extend
that.
it. Yeah, they really need to extend it because if it's like, if it's like consistent enough where it's like even if it's 50 and 50, that's consistent enough where 50% of the people are okay and 50% are having problems. You need to patch it. That's too big a number, far too big a number. Like that's a problem. It's just you need to patch it quickly. Otherwise, nobody's gonna want to. I mean, everybody who, frankly, I'm sure plenty of people have bought this game already for PC, but it's just like, well, somebody who's like thinking about it is just gonna go, why would I get this? All I hear about are crashes.
Yeah, I think right now, unless you're one of the lucky few or just have a super good rig, I think the definitive way to play these games, with the exception of KH3, again, the KH3 PC is actually supposed to be pretty darn good, and I haven't heard much in the way of crashes on KH3 either. But with 1.5 plus 2.5 and 2.8, PS4 still seems to be the way to go, and I've heard variable things on the load times as well, because that's what people with speedruns are like, oh, does it load faster? Okay, I want to run that version because it loads faster.
Of course.
PS4 is already super fast for KH2, especially. There's a point where like how it can't be that much fast. Like it already loads nearly instantly on PS4, so it's hard to see it being much faster. But again, I've heard variable things. I've heard some people say, oh, it's slower on PC, it's about the same, and I've heard it's faster on PC. So I really have no idea. I think it really depends on your system. It depends on your system, to be honest, your hardware.
Okay.
And that's kind of to be expected with PC because hardware is very variable.
I'm curious. about the entire, like, I'm sure there's like a bundle if you want all the KH games just bundled in one package.
No.
Wait, what do you mean no?
I
What?
mean, no. I mean, you have to buy them all individually. You have to buy
Why?
one point.
Why not? Why isn't there a bundle for all of them together? Okay, I see. Well, okay, 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, and Remind. I see it's like 3 games actually with
And
Melody
then Melody
Memory.
of you forgot Melody of Memory.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That's
but
four.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm moving that over there because that's the not in the trilogy section. Um, 39. So together with the discount, it's 48 plus 48 plus 40. So 136 plus tax, right? Melody Memory,
Yep,
obviously, if you want to get that too, that's so
another
basically you're pushing
48.
$200. Okay,
Yeah, it's close to 200 with the discount
okay.
for all the
So
games.
it's $200 with a discount if you want all of them for PC. It's a lot. That's a lot for 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 those particular games. Um, I yeah I hope they keep the discount on until though they patch it. I hope they do patch it quickly. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think. Would I be shocked if they didn't patch it? Yeah, I think I would be. If there was enough people
yeah.
complaining, yeah.
PS4 was crashed quite a lot at first when it first came out, and they had it fixed up within a couple of months. I want to say
Yeah.
they had it fixed.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting. I
so yeah, I think they will patch it. I don't know who made if they outsourced the ports or if Square Enix did it themselves or Epic worked on it. I have no idea who worked on these ports, the PC ports
yeah.
specifically. So yeah, hopefully they patch it relatively quickly, especially the crashing and the audio thing. The audio thing in Cage 2 actually needs to be fixed too because
Oh,
it's actually
is
really it's really loud and like distracting and annoying
okay.
to be honest. I find it at least is just like
Okay.
ugh.
That's I mean that's fair. I don't know like yeah. I think obviously crashes are a higher priority, but
Of
I think
course.
if you're gonna fix something and it's there and it's easily fixed, fix it. I would say just for the sake of those who haven't bought this, I would argue wait until the summer. I have a sneaking suspicion that a couple months and we get to the summer and we get to the sale. Epic Game Store does the same thing as Steam. They have a summer sale.
Or so.
Wait till then. I'm telling you,
50%.
I don't think it's necessarily going to be 50%, but this is what happens with Epic. Epic's sales, the sales themselves, the discounts aren't necessarily better than Steam's or anything. But Epic consistently, the sales that I've seen, the major ones, not like the mini sales, but the major sales, like the winter sale, they give coupons. If you buy a certain amount, they will give you a coupon to use on the next purchase. So what you can do is, let's say these maybe have like a 20% discount. If you spend the $48 on one, you might get like a $10 or $15 coupon. That's what they do. That's what I bought, like actually several games on the Epic Game Store specifically because of this coupon thing. And they were Ubisoft games because Ubisoft, you know, it doesn't really matter to me, to be honest, if it's on Steam or Epic. I actually don't care. But the thing that I liked about the sales on Epic as opposed to like Steam is Epic gives you coupons. They just give you coupons. So I kind of abuse the coupons that they give. So some of the games that normally on sale, they like actually give you the coupon with the discount. So if a game is 50% off and you have the $10 off coupon, it's 50% off plus your $10 coupon. So just food for thought as you consider getting like a Kingdom Hearts game or something else. Is like for example for Immortals Phoenix Rising, there was a discount of like 30+% or 40%, and I got a $15 coupon on that on top of it. So it was actually very cheap to buy that game
Yeah.
for me. So just
Yeah.
again, just think about that.
Yeah, the price on I don't know. The price on these, the base price, full price for I think we talked about this before, but specifically for like 1.5 plus 2.5 and 2.8, just come on.
It's too much. I think three with Remind into it, I don't think is that
Yeah, I
bad.
think with 3 and Remind at $60, I think that's reasonable, to be
That's
honest.
fine.
Remind is a really good DLC. And 3 is, I mean, it's only 2 years old at this point, so you know.
I don't think it's
And
that bad.
to
Yeah.
buy it base, it was like 60 for 3 and then another 30 for the DLC. So it's like $90 value and they're putting it for 60.
It's a
So I'll
$30
give them that
discount.
one.
Yeah.
Melody Memory just came out a few months ago.
They're not going to
$60.
discount that.
Fine.
Yeah.
But 1.5, but 2.5. 1.5 by itself came out on PS3 in 2014, 2.5 2015, and then the 1.5, 2.5 2017. Not to mention that these are already all just old games that they've just remastered into a port.
Right.
Like that game should be like 40 tops base, but probably 30 in my opinion.
40 with a discount, or with a 20% discount, would
yeah,
be
so it's
like,
basically 30.
it's roughly, yeah. It's like 33 or something like that, but whatever.
Yeah, 32.
30, whatever.
32.
Whatever. Point is, 32 sounds better than 47. Because the current discount is 20%, onto 60 is $48 roughly.
Well, 1.5, 2.5 is 50 actually.
Oh, really?
It's discounted 20% to 40. So
okay, well, 32 sounds better than 40. My argument still stands.
I still don't think the base price on that should be 50. I think it should be 40 or 30 as base price on that game.
I agree. I agree with you.
And 2.8 is just, again, it's 4 years old at this point, and it's just not a good value. It's DDD, which I don't like, but it's one game. 0.2, which is like a part of a game. It was a tech demo for KH3 basically. It's only like 3 or 4 hours, and then a 1 hour like lore cutscene from Union Cross. Like the value on it just isn't good. Again, I think that one should be 30 or 40 base price.
Doesn't 1.5, 2.5 also have BBS and Chain of Memories?
Yes, it has BBS and Chain of Memories. So there's 4 playable games in there, and then there's 3 hours of cutscenes that compiled days and recoded in there. So it's like 4 playable games and 2 like story cutscenes,
movies, or something like that.
2 movies for the other 2 games. So it's like quote unquote 6 in 1, but
right.
It's like they're old games, and this is like the 4th freaking port of the same thing. Like, come on.
I don't know. Again, maybe like,
I mean, they put it at full price because they know people are going to be pay for it. The Kingdom Hearts fan base is quite rampant, and they're like, yeah, people will pay for this.
It's a dedicated fan base. It really is. It's a very dedicated fan base.
Almost everyone that I know in the community has bought it. Like myself and like Dodge are the only ones I know of who didn't, basically.
Again, but some of those people like almost exclusively play things like Kingdom Hearts and maybe a couple other JRPGs.
I get it for like the big streamers like Nintendo and Biz.
Oh,
and
you
Bloody,
have to.
and, like,
yeah, you have to.
They have to. They have to get the views for KH on PC day one. I mean, they have to. So
you have to. 100%.
That's completely fair. And the YouTubers as well. They have to because they need the content.
Right. No,
they're gonna get an uptick in views because of the new release. Of course they are.
People are gonna be like, "You got the PC version?" Like, yeah.
But for everybody else, it's like, I mean, I've played these games, and the PC version is maybe marginally better than PS4, but with the crashes, it's probably worse at this point.
Put crash percent as the title. There you go.
Yeah, crash percent.
I got 30. I got through 35% of the game before a crash. Pretty pog.
Yeah, I mean, there are more options. Again, there's more like button customization options, and there's the PC usual options like VSync, and then like the frame rate stuff that I talked about, and the resolution. And, the stuff you'd expect from a PC port is there, which is nice to see because it's obviously this is the first time the series has ever been on PC. We're used to it on consoles where you don't really get any options. You just get what you get, and that's it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, like the thing is, in the summer. Okay, theoretical situation, whatever. Like, this may not even happen. In the summer, hypothetically speaking, there's a 30% discount on these. Let's just say 30%. In the summer, if there's a 30% discount on these games, Assuming summer sale would be what, June or July? I don't remember when. It's like June usually, right?
Usually it's around, at least for Steam, it's around 4th of July. So maybe it'll start the last week of June
Okay.
and go for a couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
I think Epic actually lines up with Steam. So assuming it's that case, July 4th. This goes 30%, and the coupon thing is a go on Epic, which I'm fairly certain they'll do again, just because I can't imagine that isn't a successful strategy to get people to buy games on Epic as opposed to Steam. I would totally do it. I would definitely do it. Actually, for PC, I would do it.
You would buy Kingdom Hearts on PC.
I buy all of them, and I
You buy
would consider
all of
playing through all of them. And the reason,
Okay.
and the only reason why it's kind of like a weird reason, but the only reason why is it's much easier for me to play these on PC than it is for me to rehook up
your
my
console.
console. And also, again, I never actually did any of the other like 2.8 stuff, and I never played Dream Drop. I have them though. I don't have 2.8. I don't think.
You don't have 2.8, and
Yeah.
You haven't played Melody yet.
Yeah, I haven't played Melody at all. I would do it. I would do it just because it is easier.
And you didn't play the DLC for KH3 either.
No, I didn't. I would do it if it was like 30% plus the coupons. I would do it because that would drop the price down a significant amount with the coupons involved. I would do it. Just again, it's far easier for me to do it on PC as opposed to console. It's just like it's kind of like a weird thing, but like me setting up my console on my desk
It's a pain.
it's actually like it's a lot of fidgeting around on my desk, and
Sure.
it's like I would rather just do it here. Not that I like would rather spend the money, but if it drops the cost down a lot, yeah, I would consider it.
Yeah,
But
I
just
mean,
wanted to put that out there.
yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. That kind of surprises me actually. I didn't know you were even like thinking about like
I
interested
wasn't.
in it. That makes
I
sense.
won't say I was thinking about it or interested, but I'm saying if that was on the
Yeah.
table, yeah, I would put chips down for that.
And I would be surprised if it's not at least 25 or 30%
Yeah.
over the summer on a summer sale.
Yeah.
I will definitely at some point get 1.5 plus 2.5 and KH3 on PS and on PC. Whether that's at summer sale or once if Rando comes out for the PC version, I will probably just get 1.5, 2.5.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, like, of course.
So if that comes out, I'm getting that, and then KH3, I'll wait on the sale. I will not buy 2.8 for PC because, as I said, I don't think it's worth it. I have that game on PS4 already. I don't want to play DDD again. 0.2 is fine, but I have it on PS4, and I don't care.
You have it. Yeah, no, I get
I'm
it.
I'm not gonna buy that game. That game.
Yeah,
again.
no, I get it. I get it.
Melody, maybe, but again, I already own that game on PS4 and Switch, so I don't really see the need to buy
Right.
that on PC. But 1.5 plus 2.5 and KH3, I will definitely get at some point on PC, whether that be again Rando plus big discount. We'll
I
do
would
that.
I would like to see a summer discount. That would be nice. And again, if they do the coupons again, which God, I hope they do. I actually really like when they do the coupons on those. They did it like for 2 different major sales. It was like amazing actually getting
Yeah.
a bunch of the games that I wanted from like Ubisoft and such for just like actually less than 50% on the price tag. It was great.
And
Um,
and also hopefully they will patch some of these
God,
issues
yes,
that they
please
had with the
do.
release.
Yeah, don't leave it like this. That would be terrible. Then I wouldn't. If they didn't patch it, then I'm good. I just think, I'm good.
Like yeah, they're cashing in. That's bold. That's BS if they're not gonna fix it.
It would be a
They
bold
got-
strategy. Yeah.
They got to make the game at least as good as the PS4 version, right? Like
Yeah. Okay. I'm doing one thing. Okay. So let's shift gears from Kingdom Hearts for a bit. So
Yep.
So the newest looter shooter on the block, Outriders, is releasing tomorrow. I don't know the full release details, but what I've heard is if you were an ambassador to the game, you could play it right now. Actually, you could play it since this morning, really
Yeah.
early this morning.
some streamers were playing it today.
Yeah. And if you got it on console, you can play it at midnight. But if you got it for PC, it's like not midnight. It's like weird. The release is different. That's my I'm sure I'm 100. I'm sure I'm wrong, but I've heard some of the people on the streams
I
talking about it, and they're
I
like,
think I've
"When is
heard that.
this
I
released?"
think I've heard that too. So I don't think you're wrong. Actually, I
The
think I heard
console,
that.
yeah, the
Something new with the way, probably the way Steam updates or something like that.
that could
I
be
don't
it.
know. Like, who knows?
But yeah, the console version will release at midnight, and the Steam version is going to release tomorrow morning at like 10 a.m. Something like that. And so again, for just wanted to get that out there, just because it's a weird thing I was hearing. I was watching a stream of it almost all day when I was at my computer, either doing homework or something else. Um, the game itself, it's a looter shooter. the The setting of the game is you're not on Earth. Earth has been, I don't want to say like Earth is blown up, but it's like
It was
destroyed,
uninhabitable, basically.
uninhabitable. Yeah, it's like an apocalypse occurred on Earth, and uninhabitable, inhabitable planet. They had to move, and the Outriders as a group. And again, I don't know all the details, but from the demo, it just seemed like they're like a special group of human soldiers. It seemed like, and people who like were the ones that were actually scoping out
Yeah,
inhabitable planets
seems
to
like they're
colonize.
they're tasked with, like, they're the first group to go down to the planet and make sure that it's good to go, that we can actually bring the civilians
Right.
down to colonize the planet,
And
basically.
they actually make it out to seem like the Outriders are a very big deal. Like it's more than just like a soldier. An Outrider is a very big deal, and in the demo, we start to go down as Outriders and see if the planet's habitable, and things start to go wrong. There's some kind of maelstrom that occurs, and somebody gives the green light to colonize, but the maelstrom occurs around the same time, and you end up going into a coma. There's a little bit more than that, but you end up going into cryo. Actually, not a coma, into cryo. Somebody locks you into a cryo state, and you wake up, and you wake up in this like in this battle. Basically, somebody wakes you up. They knock you out of cryo, and you get a gun, and you immediately get thrown in behind enemy lines, and they're like, wow, you're an Outrider, and you discover you're the last Outrider. Well, sort of the last one. There's one more Outrider, but you're sort of the last Outrider, and you end up having to like go through this battlefield. And this is all through the demo, and you discover you're not only are you the last or second to last Outrider, but you've been in cryo for like 31 years. I think it was 31, and
Sounds right.
there's just like this war taking place inside of, I'm going to call it a bubble. That's not true. It's not a bubble. It's just the humans that colonized and such, they've been stuck inside of this one location because they can't go outside of it. I forgot the specific term they used. But they're
Isn't
like
it because of the, like,
the maelstrom.
maelstrom?
Yeah.
Or not, they call it the anomaly, I
Yeah.
think.
The
That's
anomaly.
what
Thank you.
yeah.
They call it the anomaly. So they're like, we can't go out. The anomaly keeps us in. And you discover while getting knocked out of cryo that this maelstrom that you hit before you went into cryo affected you, and you have powers now. Okay, we're just gonna say you have powers.
You have space. You have space magic.
You got space
we have
magic.
space magic, Nick. We have space magic now.
I think it's kind of. I mean, I like it. I like the space magic that you get. There's 4 different classes. There's the Technomancer, the Pyromancer, right? It's Pyromancer. I forgot the stealth one, but there's a stealth class, and
Melee / stealth.
yeah, and then there's a tank class which uses like earth powers, like earth
Yeah.
elemental powers. It's all like, I like the classes. The distribution of classes is all pretty interesting. The Technomancer, I played the Technomancer in the demo. I was just like throwing landmines, and I had like a missile launcher, that I laid down on the ground, and then it just like mowed down a lane. Essentially, wherever it was like focused, it would just fire missiles down that lane. It was kind of a cool power. I like that one a lot. So for your Technomancer, you actually just throw down a lot of gadgets. So there was like a turret in that launcher. From what I've seen of the Pyromancer, and you played it, the Pyromancer is just like, you're just lighting people on fire, turning
Yeah,
them to ash.
you just light people on
You're
fire, make them explode.
you're literally a mage. You are a mage.
Yeah, you're a mage
The
basically.
the
Or it's-
Technomancer is just like a gadget type of class, but the Pyromancer seems like just a straight up mage.
Yeah, and when the techno, they also like they specify ranges for the classes. The Technomancer is supposed to be the long range class, like the sniper class. The
Yeah,
Pyromancer is supposed to be your kind of mid range mage type class, and then the other two are close range.
the other two are close
for
range.
sure. Like stealth, and like melee DPS for that
Right.
one. And then
Yep.
the tank is just big boy go in and Hulk smash
Yep.
basically.
Yeah.
So
I kind of like the tank one. I might play the tank one too. The one I was least interested in was the stealth one. I wasn't sure how stealth would go, and I'm gonna be honest. Maybe it's really powerful, but one thing I've noticed from playing this demo, well, for one, I actually am pretty excited for this game, but two, the demo. The one thing I'm concerned about is I just feel like you have to play this co-op. There's a lot of enemies, and they hit hard. The enemies hit really hard. I died a couple times. I was surprised at how hard the
yeah,
enemies hit.
I didn't get through the entire demo. I only played like basically the tutorial section.
Okay.
So I only got up to the part where you get your powers initially, and then you get back to like whatever
Okay.
the town is, and you meet.
I
That's
see.
the only part that I played.
I see.
I didn't go any further than that.
Okay, so you're just gonna get my impressions then of after what Spoons played, but I was surprised. I felt like when I was playing this, I was like, wow, I really do think I need to play this co-op. I don't think I could solo this. Like even the story, like I think I'd rather play the story co-op because enemies just hit really hard. They were hitting hard. They were flanking on me. I was like, wow, this is holy crap.
So the way that the game works, other than like it's basically a third-person cover shooter, and then you have
Yeah.
the powers. But the way each of the classes works, they each obviously have their set of powers, but they also have a mechanic that like heals them
Yes.
basically within the class. So the one for the Pyromancer is anytime you hit an enemy with an ability, they become like marked by you, and if you
Right.
kill an enemy who is marked, it heals you.
I wish there was the classes. There was like a classes breakdown.
Sure,
Here. Keep
it's
going.
somewhere. I don't remember what it is for the other three, to be honest, what they're healing. But their whole deal is like they don't want you to like camp in the back and snipe and
Right.
just hide to heal, and there's no like health packs anywhere to heal yourself. I think if you're out of combat, you probably just passively heal. I would
Right.
guess, but I'm not 100% sure on
I think
that.
no, you do. So, so for the Technomancer, just reading through the healing mechanics, because the healing mechanic, there's no like healing potions or anything. You will recover a portion of the damage you deal as health. So that's that
So
one.
all damage you deal, you can heal.
But the Pyromancer is different. I believe you will recover health whenever enemies marked by your skills are killed. So that
Yep.
all these classes, I believe, heal differently. Yeah, the tank is recovering health from slain enemies that stood too close, and the Trickster, that's the other one, Trickster. The Trickster is each enemy killed in close range heals you and grants a portion of shield. So everybody heals differently. Is the idea? I like that actually. I kind of like that. It's kind of interesting. That your healing isn't like a
yeah,
potion.
they want you to play aggressively. They want you to use your skills. They want you to shoot things. And the way you sustain yourself and stay alive in combat is by playing aggressively and attacking enemies with your skills and your guns. So, like, the Pyromancer doesn't have to kill an enemy with its skill. You have to hit it with your skill, and then either the skill kills it or you shoot it and it dies while it's marked, and then you'll heal yourself.
Right.
So,
and yeah, no, I like the I haven't looked at the skill trees that closely, but we can look at one of them. Again, Technomancer is probably good. So there's like there's the skills. So those skills that I had were the shrapnel, which is a oh, by the way, there's like a keyword called interrupt that comes into play. Interrupt, you actually will get that in the demo. There's like a boss fight, and bosses can do casting abilities, and I think some enemies have cast timers. you can interrupt their cast timer with certain abilities. So this ordnance, this shrapnel, which is a proximity device, has an interrupt keyword, so it can interrupt skills. So you need these for sure, at least probably one, because a lot of these enemies will, I won't say a lot, but some of these enemies will have cast timers and you want to disrupt that. So I thought that's a cool mechanic too. Like some enemies cast, you may want to have an interrupt into your kit so that you can prevent that, prevent the big attacks from happening. There's some like, there's some tactics there. But the pain launcher was the missile launcher. Again, all this stuff, I liked it. It was very cool. But and then there's the class tree. So, where I wish we could see the class tree. Where's the class tree? Class tree by selecting this class. So here's the class tree. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a little bit. So there's all these. This is the class tree. So there's this pretty big tree. You get Pestilence, Tech Shaman, and Demolisher. So here's your tech tree, and I feel like it's pretty cool in that it looks like if you just go down one path, you can also tech into a different path a little bit too. There's a little bit of variability, and okay, if you go down this path, maybe you want to go a little bit into this path for some reason. This tree looks good to me when I look at it. There's a lot of customization. It feels,
a lot of the small nodes are all just kind of, from when I looked at, the small nodes are just like stat buffs, like health, damage, ability damage, like that kind of stuff. And then the bigger nodes are actually things that might modify your skills or your characters a little bit more. But I do like this idea that, kind of partway down the tree, you can cross between the different trees, though obviously it's harder if you're going through the bottom tree to cross all the way to the top if you wanted to do that. So,
of course, yeah.
That's interesting. And yeah, we haven't really talked about the loot, but I mean there's loot in the game when you kill stuff. There's chests, you pick up enemies, stuff. There's gear score. The loot has, certain, when you get the higher rarity loot, it has special effects and abilities on them that again might augment your skills or your character in some way.
Yeah. But the loot is I don't know if we don't know if it's good or not. I mean, we really don't. We're kind of hoping it is. I hope it is. But you can equip yourself with full gear for armor, as you said, and guns. You get 3 different gun slots. There's like a sidearm, and then there's two other guns.
Two primary slots.
Yeah, 2 primary slots. Yeah, and the so far we haven't seen what kinds of, maybe if there's any elemental effects on the guns when you start acquiring higher level guns. We haven't seen too much there, but from what I've seen in regards to loot so far, it's okay. You need to play through more of the game and get to end game to really know.
I mean, yeah, no one is far enough. No one is in end game.
No one will be far enough.
So we don't know.
There's like one other thing. There's a couple other things I wanted to mention. Oh, the combat itself. So this is you mentioned it. The combat is based around it's supposed to be like a cover shooter. And I have one complaint. Sometimes the cover does not work well. It will like occasionally not let me go into cover. It didn't happen a lot, but it happened occasionally.
Yeah, I noticed that too. When it worked, it was perfectly fine, but there were some things that looked like they should have been able to use as cover that
didn't work.
That just didn't let you use it as cover. I'm like, why? Why can I not take cover behind this? This makes no sense.
I don't know. I don't know. They need to, if that's like a persistent case, they need to fix it. Some cover was destructible though, which I thought was fine. The other thing is like some cover, like you should be able to round it, but it's actually kind of hard to round cover. Like you think it'd just be like, yeah, press this button and you'll round cover, but stay in cover. Yeah, it didn't exactly work out super well. So that's one little complaint. It's a cover shooter, but sometimes the cover isn't as good as you want it to be, which that's not a good sign. That being said, I've also seen some streams and such where it's a cover shooter, but some like fights just don't have cover. So it's just like, well, why is this a cover shooter then? There's like a boss fight that I saw a streamer go into. There's no cover at all. So I'm like, okay, but you're a cover shooter. Shouldn't you have cover in almost all your
I
fights? Like, you're a cover
I don't
shooter.
know. I think they want more focus on like the abilities and stuff,
That's
so to like heal yourself. But
fair,
I'm
fair,
not
fair, fair,
sure. I don't know.
fair. But still, like you're a cover. If your foundation is as a cover shooter, it's weird when you don't have cover in your combats, particularly
Yeah,
boss fights. I didn't have that in the demo. There was no case where there was like no cover, but I saw the stream. And I was like, "Where's the cover?" So kind of weird. But the gunplay was okay. Gunplay was solid. I had no
no
problems with
problem.
the actual gunplay as a third person shooter. I don't know if you had any issues on your side when you were playing through the demo, but
Feels like a shooter. Feels like a
feels
third
like
person shooter.
it,
There
it
was
feels good.
no.
Pretty good.
If the shooting feels bad, you have a problem. The shooting doesn't feel bad. It feels what you'd expect for a third person shooter.
Yeah, I again like it's not the best. Like Destiny's 2 still has the best, gunplay of probably any looter shooter we've seen so far. But
Yeah. This one is
um,
more focused on the abilities though. Like the
mm,
abilities in Destiny have super long cooldowns, and this one they're like 10 seconds. So you're using your abilities a
right.
lot in this one.
Also, the actual class system in this game and the skill trees and such look more sophisticated and just seems like, well, we'll know
Yeah.
more when we actually play it, but a little bit more flushed out. Um, One problematic thing about something like Destiny, as an example, and Destiny's not the only one that has this problem, by the way. So, you know, but Destiny 2's like the skill system, the skills and such,
Oh yeah, no.
not good. They're not great.
We've talked about it before. The RPG mechanics in Destiny are they might as well not exist. It's just
It's not
stupid.
it's not even there at all. And again, like yeah, Destiny 2's got the best gunplay though. You'll get in a game like a looter shooter game. So that is like probably the best aspect of Destiny 2, at least for me. Besides, like the raids are good too. Um, but I think this game, I think you do need to play this game co-op. I don't think single player is going to be particularly enjoyable for something like this. At least going through the story, I feel like you should co-op through it. It seemed like when I was watching people the stream that I was watching with co-op, it was still, there was still a good challenge. I think that's a good thing. And I don't actually think it's bad that co-op is quote unquote forced. It's not forced, but I would say it's encouraged. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's particularly if the matchmaking works out well and if there's enough players that actually play the game. So I don't think that's a bad thing. But I'm interested. Obviously, I'm interested in the game because I'm getting it. But I'm excited. I'm hoping that this is going to be a good experience. And going once we get to end game, hopefully the loot can keep up and be a fun part of the game that enhances all the skill trees and such. That's what I want is this really good skill tree system with the classes and the loot. If all that comes together
And diversity and like builds,
and
like
really creates
all
unique
the build
diversity.
like you can make diverse builds that are all like good and viable for end game depending on how you want to play
Right.
your class.
I would like to see that. I would really
I don't
like
want
to
to
see
see
that.
like, oh, we have this cool skill tree, but there's only one build that's viable for end game. Everything else is garbage. That would be
Another
stupid.
Destiny 2 complaint I've always had is just like, okay, it seems like particularly when you go into raids, there's like one particular build you want. No, I'm not one. I'm sorry. There's like two, maybe two per class that you really want. And if you're doing other things, it just feels like you're doing the wrong thing with your raid group. Um, I took, for example, a like super and build that just like the only reason I took it was because my character just ends up being faster when I run down a hallway. There's like one sequence where you run down this hallway. I only took it because I went down the hallway faster. It's just like you would never do that actually in general, but it's just like it seems like when you do raids in Destiny 2, there's like probably two things you really want to do, and everything else is just like obsolete. Like why were you doing it? Which is to me it's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like you want certain things. Like you want to have a Titan that can throw a bubble down. You may want to have a Warlock that puts like the this like I don't remember what it's called, but it's like he puts an aura on the ground. It's like healing and damage boost aura. It's just like there's like certain things you want, and everything else is just like why. I mean, everything else. Well of Radiance, thank you. You put a well down, and everything else is just like okay. Well, everything else is just flavor, but you need to have a well, and you need to have a bubble, and the hunter like hunter can have. I don't know. Hunter has their thing, but it seems like there's only a couple things that you really want, and everything else just sort of doesn't matter as much. So that
I mean,
becomes kind
yeah,
of unfortunate.
there's always going to be meta in like
Yeah,
in game. There's certain builds that are the best or really good, but it's nice to see some diversity in the meta where like there's maybe a few different builds for each class that are
right.
viable.
But yeah, for
Um,
raids, a well and a bubble. It's like, do we have those? Yeah, okay. Do we need anything else? It does whatever, whatever floats your boat and does the most damage. And that's I don't know, like something like that. It's a little bit boring because it's like really it just boils down to that. Okay, well whatever.
yeah. So
And
you are
that yeah.
you are getting this game.
Yes, I bought it
Who?
already.
Oh, you pre-ordered it. So,
Oh yeah, I
are
bought it already.
you just gonna like pub matchmake co-op or?
I have no idea. I mean, I would like somebody else to join me, and
Yeah,
I would do co-op.
I'm thinking about it. Like, I've been teetering on this game for the past couple of days, and you getting it is obviously teetering me more towards getting it
Right.
because of we haven't played a game co-op together in quite a
In a
while.
long time, yeah.
The last game we played co-op together was Anthem, and we didn't finish that because that game sucked.
I'm already triggered. I'm already triggered. This game is going to be better than Anthem. I can confidently
This
say that after playing the demo. I can
from
confidently say
playing
that.
yeah, no, I even the little bit that I played of the demo, this game is better than Anthem for sure.
Yeah. I,
Um,
we didn't even talk about the story of this game outside of the setting. Yeah, I think the story of this game is going to be meh. I think it's going to be
it's
meh.
it's probably gonna be fine. I'm not expecting too
Yeah,
much from
I
the
don't.
story in
I
a
don't
game like
expect
this.
much.
I'm gonna be honest.
I don't
It's there.
expect too much.
They put some effort into it. You can tell there's a good amount of voice acting. There's some dialogue, some dialogue trees and stuff to go through. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Game like this, it's about the gameplay, right? For the most part.
That's yeah. It did seem like from at least the developer there was a good amount of story, which I mean, like if the campaign is pretty long, I'm not opposed to that.
No, yeah,
I'm not opposed to that. If it's like a 30 to 40 hour campaign, I'm not opposed to that.
yeah. My only like hesitancy with getting this is, there's like other stuff that I'm playing right now
Oh
as
yeah, of
well
course.
that
But
like I don't want to dedicate all my time to this
sure.
game.
But if anybody wants to join me, just let me know. I would. I mean, I would. My preference would be to play with
Otto
someone
Otto
I
wants a
know.
friend.
But
Otto
but
wants a friend for Outriders.
but if not, I don't know. I'll figure something out. Maybe I'll
I assume
try
you
it
got it on.
solo.
I assume you got it on PC.
Yes, I did. I got it on Steam.
Steam.
Um, this game, by the way, has a day one patch. There's like a 2 gig day one patch. Hopefully, there was like some
Can
issues I
you
saw from streamers. I don't know.
can you pre-download it
Yeah, I
at this
already did.
point already?
Yeah, I
Okay,
already
you
did.
downloaded already.
Yeah, you can pre-download and everything. So I would like somebody to join me for co-op, but I'll try. If that's not the case, I'll try the campaign solo and see how it works. My guess is it's scaling. Like, okay, if you go in solo to some of these campaign missions, they scale it based
I'm
on the
sure
number
the
of
enemies
party
are gonna
members.
have more health and do more damage
Yeah, I mean,
if you play co-op.
that would make sense, but we'll see. If I'm not able to really do it successfully solo, I mean, like sheesh, I guess I'll do co-op with randos. I mean, that's not like the worst thing. I mean, Destiny, you do that all the time for like strikes and things like that. So it's not like a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
It'd just be
The one
weird
thing,
to do it for campaign.
yeah, the one thing about this game that we really don't have any idea, like is with like the end game content, or if there dungeons, strikes, that type of thing. Are
Yeah,
there
that's a good
gonna
point.
be raids? Is there? I don't think there's multiplayer from what I've heard about. I mean,
No
versus
PvP.
multiplayer, not PvP.
Thank God.
No PvP. But yeah, we just don't know what the like end game or like dungeon slash raid slash whatever else PvE content is going to
Right.
look like. What how you get loot, what is it just gonna be repetitive like fetch quests, side quests? Like, yeah, we
Yeah.
just don't know, which
I
is
yeah, I mean that's a good point too. If I would like to see something in the way of like a strike from Destiny 2. This has to have raids. I can't imagine it wouldn't. Or something of the like. But there's no PvP content to my knowledge. At least to my knowledge. Like I can try searching it right now. Outriders PvP. I don't think there's PvP.
yeah, I haven't heard anything about PvP, so I assume there's not.
Yeah, thank God. Thank God. Only my one of my things with Destiny 2, that game they just shouldn't have it. They should get rid
Oh,
of
you
it.
don't like the
I
PvP in
hate it.
Destiny
The
2?
PvP in Destiny 2 is like I don't want to do it. It's here's how PvP works on PC. Okay, let me explain to you how it works. Are you using a hand cannon? No? Oh, well. You
You're dead.
tried. You tried. You tried.
What? They're just OP. You just get one shot
You're
or
on
what?
PC. People
Oh
know
yeah.
how to aim on PC. I don't know how to aim as well on PC because I don't, practice or anything that
Or you're
often.
or you're like me and you play on PC, but you really play with the controller
Oh,
anyways because
you wouldn't have fun at all. You'd have a terrible time. You'd have an awful time. No, PC Destiny 2 PvP is it's poopy. I hate it. I do. I don't like it. I like it's not the worst PvP. No, Destiny 2 on console. No, it's not. Destiny 2 controller. No, controller Destiny 2 PC. No, that can't be real. That can't be better unless it's like massive aim assist. That can't be better because it's just like you just
there's
get
always aim
annihilated.
assist. There's always aim assist if you use controller. I don't
Oh,
know how.
if the aim assist is incredible on controller, then yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But like, oh god, on PC, it's just like if you if you can't use a hand cannon or a sniper particularly well, you're just gonna have to hope that it's not a one. It's not just like a heads up 1v1. It's just like it's just ridiculous. I do not like Destiny 2's
That,
PvP.
that that sounds entirely unbalanced and ridiculous.
It's not like it's not. I don't enjoy it. I like the Gambit though. Gambit's like a PvEBP. I like Gambit. Gambit's pretty fun, but PvP is not fun.
Yeah, the
It's really
straight
not.
PvP.
So I'm
What's it
glad
called?
this game is just
Crucible.
like no, we're
It's
not
called
doing
Crucible.
it. Yeah. Oh yeah, Crucible. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Crucible.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad this game isn't doing any PvP. I'm glad it's just like, yeah, we're just gonna focus on PvE
PvE.
related content, and whatever else is gonna be with like
Yeah.
whatever if it's
I
gonna be like strikes or raids. Thank God, because like
yeah. I don't know how much I'm gonna play it because there's other stuff I'm playing right now, and I actually just started playing Xenoblade 1 Definitive Edition last night, so I'm gonna want to play that. But I will get this game, and I will at least play some co-op with you.
okay,
This game.
but yeah, I just like I think Destiny's PvE content is really good for me at least. It's really fun, like the raids and the like all that other that content is great and the gunplay is great. But anytime I had to go into PvP, whenever you were trying to do like pinnacles and things like that, you would inevitably had to go into PvP. I don't know why they force you in that, but they're like, yeah, okay, you want a pinnacle PvP, okay. I'm just not gonna have fun for an hour. Is that what we're doing? And yeah, you do it. I mean, you do it, but it's just like, oof. So I'm glad this game isn't doing that. I'm not like looter shooters with PvP. I've never been particularly excited about. I think there was one time where in Division I got into a PvP situation. Yeah, that was not enjoyable because that PvP was loot based. So your gear, or it was more gear based. Sorry, gear based. So if you didn't have great gear, you're just
Yeah.
gonna get annihilated. And
The one thing
Destiny
I'll
2 has that too. They have like a
One thing I'll say about Outriders that is kind of like weird to me, I guess, is uh, first of all, like all of the enemies I've seen are just like humans, like dudes with guns.
yes, yes.
And
That's not all the enemies, but yes.
there are some like unique enemies that have, the space magic as well, and they
Sure.
use powers. I So this is kind of silly because, I play a lot of games that are very unrealistic and ridiculous, but we're supposed to be there is a limited number of people who were on that spaceship that came to this planet, and you kill so many other people in this game.
Yeah, yeah.
You kill so many people.
Here, I actually have an explanation for that.
Okay, go for it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start my hand over here,
Hmm.
okay, and then I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, yeah,
And what
exactly.
that does is it's a magic movement that says
Hmm.
ignore it because you won't be fighting humans for long. In the stream that I've been watching, you fight a lot of monsters. So I think
Okay.
basically this beginning section is you're trying to get the main area under control, and then you have to go
Okay.
outside because they want to get outside of the anomaly. They want to get
Yeah.
outside. So my
Okay.
guess is what
Because
they're gonna make you do is go
I had
outside in the anomaly
I had
area.
It Me JP's stream open for most of the day as well, and he was like level, I want to say around 15. He was like mid-teens, maybe
Yeah,
like 13, 14, and he was still shooting humans. Just he was shooting
yeah. The
dudes,
stream
just
that I
shooting
was
dudes.
on was on level 20 to 23, and they were fighting all monsters at that point.
Okay. All right. So there's a point in the story where you get
Might
outside.
it might depend on quests too, but yeah, like my guess is you're going to be fighting humans, you're going to be fighting monsters. I don't think it's necessarily going to be heavily faction based, like something like Destiny is, where there's like multiple different factions, and when you're fighting those factions, you sort of know what you're getting into. It seems like so far we've only seen the opposing human faction, and there's monsters from what I've seen. That seems to be really it. I would like to see more about the factions because that does matter for looter shooters like this when you're actually
Yeah.
fighting these enemies. But from what I've seen, yes, you fight humans, but there's also a decent number of monster fighting
Okay.
sequences. So I
All right.
wouldn't worry too
Well,
much about that issue.
that's interesting. We'll also see what their I mean, this being a looter shooter, I assume they have plans to continue supporting this game down the line with like DLC and more dungeons, more loot, more classes, possibly. I don't know, more. We'll see what their plans are down the line for this game.
That
Because at least so far from like the streamers, there's no reviews out for it so far that I've seen, but at least from most of the streamers I've seen, most people seem to be enjoying it so far. So this game is getting, at least on the initial impression from the demo and this like first day with streamers, this game seems to be being received relatively well from
yes,
the you know
yeah,
general gaming populace. Um, so yeah, I mean, this will we'll see what they do with it from here. If they've got more plans to continue it. It's a looter game, and man, this is also published by Square Enix, by the way, different developer than Avengers. But Avengers is a looter game, and that game was a flop, and they're still trying to support that. This game, I feel like, is going to do far better than Avengers.
if
At least the interest
yeah,
is far
if
higher
this
than
game does
Avengers.
better than Avengers, here's my prediction: Square Enix is going to sit down and they're going to go, okay, Outriders is a looter shooter, Avengers is a looter brawler. Avengers isn't doing it so hot. Let's assume Outriders does even just moderately well. Let's say they do, they run out the gate and they're doing well enough where it's like concurrent players. It's not Destiny 2 level, but
No,
it's
it's
like,
not going to be Destiny.
maybe it's like concurrent players hits like 10K plus. That's
Yeah,
really
something
good
like
on
that.
Steam
That's good.
charts.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so
Especially if you're like a couple weeks, a month down the line, something
yeah,
like that.
if it's
Yeah.
pushing like close to 10K, by the way, a couple months out, that'd be amazing. But if that's the case, I wouldn't be surprised if Square Enix sat down and go, "Why are we supporting this other game? Like this
Yeah.
Outriders game is
Let,
just
let's
doing
put
better.
let's put every let's put everything into
Like,
Outriders, and
why are we supporting this other thing? We should support that thing."
when's the hashtag roadmap for Outriders?
I would say that if this game does moderately well, this game will get a good amount of content after the fact. I mean, Avengers is getting content after the fact, and it's not doing well. So that's saying something. Like I think there will be support after the main game and the people exhaust the end game content. There will be support for this, but that's assuming it does even moderately well. If this doesn't do well, which I would be surprised if this just like did poorly out the gate, but if after a couple, like maybe a month or two, things really dip because all the content has been exhausted, which it will. Like I'm sure
It's
at some
yeah,
point content will
probably.
get exhausted. That happens in all various different live service games.
I mean, that happens in every game.
Mm-hmm.
Even, you know, Destiny is just good. Like when they do content updates, there's big
There's
spikes
just
because people really like it,
yeah.
and
I mean, it's like
they come back for the big content updates. And there's enough like dailies and other. Again, I don't know a lot about Destiny. I assume there's enough like dailies and other stuff to keep you
they
going to play it a
they
little
do a
bit every day and
they do
stuff
a
like
good
that.
job of throwing out consistent content every week or so, every couple weeks to at least get you re-engaged with the game, and you're incentivized to continue playing to get pinnacles, so you increase your light level, and at some point they'll there was like a new season for Destiny, not like super recently, but relatively recently, and there's an incentive to do that because there's more content from that. There's probably going to be like a raid based content drop at some point fairly soon for Destiny 2 because the last raid was, some time ago. So the Destiny 2, like Bungie does a pretty good job. Yeah, you're a decent chunk into the new season for Destiny 2. That's right. You're like 2 months in. So they do a pretty good job of consistent content, at least from my. Oh, next brand new raid is 2022. I thought they were going to do something for recently. I thought there was something recently. That's why they were asking me to level up when I was like, yeah, but I don't know. But Bungie does a decent job with content. They drop consistent content. So yeah. Oh, they're re-releasing a D1 raid. Okay. But point is they do a good job with their content. Outriders just needs to do the same thing where like if the game does moderately well, they need to start pushing out fairly consistent content even if it's like not huge. Like it doesn't have
Yeah,
to be a raid, but it needs to
a little
be
bit at a
like,
time.
oh, here's a bunch more new. Here's a couple new quests that you can
Yep,
do,
new
and here's
quests, new loot,
a couple bits of new loot. Maybe like
maybe
there's something
a
else.
new not raid, but a new like whatever they call it in this, a new dungeon, strike. It's strike
Yeah,
in
this is
Destiny,
like here's a
whatever
couple
that
new
is.
things. Yeah, that's what they need to because you can't with looter shooters like this. You can't be dead for. That's Marvel's Avengers problem was they were dead for so long with no new content, and the
I
new
mean, there was
content that
no,
released was
there
not very
was
good.
almost no end game content when the game released. That was the
Right,
big
and,
problem, and then
and
they didn't release anything, for a while.
Anthem had the same issue too. Anthem had a lot of other issues, but Anthem's issue also was content. Their content was just it stagnated for too long. So I do suspect Outriders will have new content consistently coming out. My guess is what it'll do so well. They'll put like a battle pass system out. There'll be like some kind of battle pass system that comes out as well. I can't imagine they wouldn't do that. They'll probably do a DLC path because I think a lot of these, I think plenty of looter shooters do the DLC path. I mean, it's just like that's all assuming the game does moderately well out the gate. The game has to just do moderately well. It doesn't have to be Destiny 2 well, but if you look at looter shooters, it's Destiny 2, Borderlands 3, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. I guess Warframe. Warframe's popular. So all it needs to do is it needs to sneak in there somewhere and say, okay, hi, I'm the new guy. I'm not Division 2. I'm not Marvel's Avengers. I'm not all these other looter shooters. I've got a niche.
I'm something a little different.
I'm
Yeah.
something a little different. I have a heavy emphasis on my abilities and skill tree. Borderlands 3 kind of had that too. Um,
Yeah, but
and you just gotta
Borderlands is more like single player in that it's like you play Borderlands, you get through the story, and then you're kind of just done. Like
sure.
they
There's
don't
like
really add.
yeah,
There's like
yeah.
DLC stories, but it's not like it's not a Destiny where it's like a co-op experience with the
Mhm.
raids and the strikes and the all the time like
Oh
dailies
yeah,
and like Borderlands is not that.
absolutely. So Outlanders just needs to sneak in there and say, okay, look. We're not Destiny 2. We will probably never be, but we're another looter shooter title that's got some. Assuming that the after game content and such dives more into the multiplayer side, and maybe they do raids and something like that. That's what they need to be. And just look, we're not Destiny 2, but we're a different option that as opposed to Destiny 2, we have more of an emphasis on abilities. It's just like pick your poison, whatever interests you more. people are still going to be more interested in Destiny 2 just because that's such a big title, but um, Outriders has an opportunity to sneak in there and be like one of those like they can get a decent base of players. They can get a base for sure. They just have to out the gate be ready to put in more content as the game releases and support the game so people don't just like immediately drop after they finish the campaign and then the end game content that exists. So hopefully again, assume because I bought it, so I'm kind of hoping it does well. But hopefully it does well, and the end game content is pretty good. It doesn't have to be amazing, but if it's pretty good, then it'll interest people enough to stick around for whenever new content drops. So, um, so yeah, that's again like if anybody wants to join me besides Spoon, you're more than welcome to. But if not, I'm definitely going to be trying to play this tomorrow when I have time. I was actually going to try and play it tonight, but then I realized, oh, this game isn't releasing at midnight for PC, so I'll have to play it tomorrow when I'm not in lab and doing the other stream stuff. So, um, okay, it's already 5:45. We talked about Outriders for a long time. Um, any other stuff that you wanted to mention, even not about Outriders, but something else before we close down, so I can get to class. Did you? Oh, it appears Spoon had a technical difficulty. I didn't even. I don't really know how long he's been out. I just got some messages from him. I assume something happened. Let me go ahead and investigate that. Oh, his internet died. Okay. Well, Spoon's internet died, so I'm gonna start wrapping things up because I don't know when he's coming back. But yeah, so we talked about Outriders for a while. I don't remember if we had any other stuff that we were going to discuss. If we do, we'll save it for next week. As far as things like movie night go, or all of our other content that we're thinking about putting in the pipeline, we'll message in the Discord about it. For movie night, I'll message regarding what movie we decide, and if anybody's interested in the movies that we've decided, which are the Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. Also, there's the Zack Snyder Justice League. I think it's a good movie. It's about 3.5 hours long. We'll probably just skip the last 30 minutes. And additionally, there's the Godzilla movie, which I'll be watching with Kate. But if I like it enough, we can watch it in the Discord. So there's that for movie night. For games that we're going to stream on the channel, Spoon and I will discuss it. We're not sure exactly what those will be, but we do want to get more streams back on the channel once things start to open up for our schedules. We have our YouTube and such. The last week's podcast went up on YouTube today, actually, because I didn't have tons of time to get it all set up on YouTube. So it's 2 parts on YouTube. If you missed our podcast last week, you're welcome to check it out. It's 2 different videos because the stream died for me, so I had to do it in 2 different videos, and I didn't edit it at all. So, yep, Spoon's internet died. Big rip, but we appreciate all you coming by and enjoying the podcast. If anybody wants to play Outriders with me, just let me know. And I think that'll do it. I like I said, I know Spoon's internet died, but we're not sure he's going to come back, and I have to head to class. So thanks, everybody. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Rainbow Six stream. I will confirm with them if that's going on. And if not tomorrow, we'll see you guys next week for the next podcast, which will be episode 20. So see you guys. Have a good rest of your night or day, wherever you are.